Hi, BookTube. I have a Rocket Summer check-in video for you. We are just about at the end of the first week of July, and I have finished my book for week one of Rocket Summer, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. I said in my last video that the main thing I was curious about when approaching this book is how I would get along with Wells as a writer. And that's because I knew the story of this book going in. I've seen the movies, and I think even if you haven't seen the movies or read the book, you know the plot. Martians come down, zap people, we fight back. There's a little more to it than that, but I knew the story coming in, and so the question is how do I like Wells's prose? And it got me thinking about something that I had heard about him, which we're going to have to go off topic for just a second here. Oh. If you are into old horror movies, if you like Universal monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, that kind of stuff, and you have not seen Island of Lost Souls, you must watch Island of Lost Souls. It is one of the great, creepy, twisted old horror movies there is. Anyway, on one of the special features here, there's a conversation with John Landis, Rick Baker, and Bob Burns, which I think is also on YouTube. If so, I'll leave a link down below to it. They talk about the book that this movie is based on, which is H.G. Wells' Island of Dr. Moreau. And I think it's John Landis who says something like, if you read the novel, it's so vivid and so fast paced that you could just film the novel itself. You don't even need a screenplay. And in reading War of the Worlds, that was the main impression that I got from Wells's writing. He was writing these stories, War of the Worlds, Island of Dr. Moreau, The Time Machine, in the 19th century, the end of the 19th century, where film was invented, but the movie as we know it did not exist, and yet it feels like Wells is writing for the screen. His prose is just a combination of a very vivid description, but a fast pace. And I mean, when the action in this book starts, it does not stop. The first part of this two-part book focuses on the Martians landing, the sort of initial battle with the humans, and then kind of ending with our main character reaching, like he finally reaches safety. And this whole 150 pages or so is just non-stop action. The second part slows down a little bit, but we're still, our main character is still fighting for his life and dealing with, still trying to handle, his world just being changed forever. The thing I like about Wells's prose is it's very easy to visualize these Martians and the Martians, the machines, the tripods, the heat ray, the red weed, the vegetation that the Martians bring down with them. But he never gets lost in his descriptions. He always keeps the action moving, and that's kind of where that cinematic sensibility comes in. And speaking of cinema, I was surprised by just how well the Spielberg movie follows this book. At least going by my memory of it, it's been probably 20 years since I've seen that movie in full. But as I read this book and kind of thought back to my memories of that movie, I thought, oh yeah, this happens, and this character is sort of like that, Tim Robbins guy from the movie, and so that sort of relates to Landis's point that about the Island of Dr. Moreau, that you could just film that book. I'm kind of scatterbrained now. I'm learning when talking about these books that it really is a good idea to take some notes as you're writing, or to at least kind of gather your thoughts onto the page, and then turn on the camera and start talking about the books. But in short, the first week of Rocket Summer is a resounding success. This book was just a great reminder, or a great lesson in, these stories are classics for a reason. They're still in print for a reason. They're still being made into movies for a reason, because they are immediately, timelessly engaging. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to Moreau, Invisible Man, Time Machine, in the Days of the Comet, like all that stuff now. And but before we get to those, we have our week 2 book, Earth Abides, which hopefully in about a week I will have another check-in video for you, and maybe one more video sometime later this week. I have a couple ideas in mind. I will see you then, and as always, I thank you for watching.